Hiya, in today's video I'm going to tell you about sugar and why it's a deadly poison. If you're new, welcome. I'm called Adrian. I make videos about alternative, safe, natural and effective ways to improve, maintain your mental and physical health and well-being. And if you're not new, welcome back. It's really good to see you again. Now, if you're interested in this kind of subject and you've not already subscribed, please do click on the subscribe button below and the bell icon so YouTube can keep you updated as we release new content. And in the comments section below, I'd like to know if you've cut sugar out of your diet and what it did for you and what the benefits were. So the structure of today's video, we're going to talk about big sugar or big food, what sugar does to your body when you first ingest it, and I'm going to list 26 illnesses or diseases that are caused as a consequence of the long-term intake of too much sugar, because in reality we really don't need any sugar in our diet whatsoever. I'm going to list the benefits you'll experience when you cut sugar out of your diet or certainly reduce it drastically, and I'm also going to give you some ideas about how to go about that and things you should be looking out for. So what is sugar? Well, it's an addictive substance, and it's actually more addictive than cocaine, and yet it's something we don't need in our food at all. There's several different types, and I'm going to list out 5. The first 3 are better than the last 2, but they're still not good. You have sucrose, lactose, maltose, and then the worst ones, which are glucose and fructose. Now, big sugar or big food, and I'm going to group those kind of industries together. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year industry that relies on the sales of glucose and fructose into the food industry, and particularly something called high fructose corn syrup, which is very cheap to produce and it's extremely bad for you. And if you start looking at labels in food, you will see it everywhere. And it's not, your body doesn't treat it like it would, say, sucrose, because the fructose, there's no insulin signaling, so your liver goes straight to store it as fat. And an interesting little short for you, in a can of soda it can be up to, or fizzy drink, up to 65% high fructose corn syrup or fructose, which is really bad. And I also read in those flavored coffee drinks that you can have, they're up to 20 or the equivalent of 25 teaspoons of sugar in them, which is just awful. And I think one of the challenges we currently face in the food industry and the way the food industry works, certainly the processed food industry, sugar is in nearly everything. It's very, very tricky to try and cut it out. And even things I found out recently, like French fries at McDonald's, they have high fructose corn syrup in them as well, which, well, it beggars belief, really. So what happens initially when you take some sugar in? Well, as soon as you taste something sweet in your mouth, it's my understanding then that your brain triggers the production of insulin in your pancreas. It also rewards you with the production of opioids and dopamine. And one of the challenges is that these responses over time require more and more sugar. It also suppresses the production of acetylcholine, which reduces your memory function. It also interferes with intolerance. I suspect it's what causes you to stop feeling hungry. So I think that response goes out the window, because one of the challenges with sugar is as you eat sugar, you crave more sugar. So your pancreas produced insulin, and this is done to decrease the glycemic levels. So there's then a rapid fall in the sugar in the blood, and this is where the loop gets created. But then your energy starts to crash and you crave more sugar. So you're in this kind of never-ending circle. Okay, so the teleprompter's frozen. Oh, here we go. The other problem is that you start storing fat. The other challenge is that over time this insulin response slows down or even stops, which is when things like diabetes occur. So what happens long term if you consume too much sugar? And this is really, really very serious. In the research I was doing, and this is several years ago now, the information I'm going to give you, in the USA, the average adult was consuming over 140 pounds of sugar, which I'll put up there how many kilos that is, annually. Diabetes is one of the side effects of having too much sugar. By the way, it's also triggered by having too much wheat, which isn't something that's very common knowledge currently. So back to diabetes. People go, oh, I've got diabetes, but it is an incredibly dangerous disease, and it's something you really want to try and avoid. Some interesting statistics for you. Worldwide, the reported cases of diabetes in 1980 was 108 million, which is an enormous number. In 2014, it had grown to 422 million people. And it's also the cause of, tremendous misery with the diabetes, but it's a massive cause of death as well. In 2016, diabetes was linked directly to 1.6 million people dying and indirectly to 2.2 million people dying as a result of the diseases caused by diabetes. And these are just reported cases. So here's a question. Why are there no prosecutions in the companies producing these products that are stuffing them into the processed foods, into the food chain, that are causing all of this suffering and all of these deaths around the world? Unless, of course, and I'm just going to theorize now, that the big sugar companies or the big sugar industry feeds big food then cause people to get sick because there's so little nutrition, there's all these vile products in them, and that then feeds the profits of the big pharma companies, because they're not there to sell you a cure, they're there to sell you another prescription. And that then works with the Medicare companies and the medical companies, because they don't want you to be well, because they only make money when you're sick. And there you would have the perfect profit-making machine. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So let's get back to long-term consumption of sugar and diabetes in particular. If you combine glucose and fructose together, which are the products most commonly found in the processed foods, there's an increase in the chance of getting diabetes of 86%, which is statistically enormous. Now, diabetes causes decline and problems with your kidneys. It can cause blindness, cardiovascular disease, heart disease. Indeed, the National Health Service, the NHS in the UK, said that 80% of the diabetes-related deaths were down to heart disease. It causes insulin resistance in your cells, and it causes problems with your liver. Another problem is neuropathy, which is where there's a problem with the nerves and the blood vessels, particularly in the lower legs and the feet, and this leads to amputations. So you have the sugar, your body has problems with it, and then you start to have your limbs cut off. The other challenge is that the mitochondria in your cells, which are like the energy powerhouse, if you will, they stop functioning correctly. Long-term sugar consumption has been linked to obesity, cancer, particularly brain cancer, oral cancer. Some information I found in the Journal of National Cancer Institute, pancreatic cancer was 53% more likely when consuming high content of sugar. Oral cancer was 10 to 15% more likely, and the increased risk of prostate cancer was 33%. Again, statistically very significant. In your brain, it causes deterioration. There's an increase in the likelihood of Alzheimer's of 200%. There's an increase in the likelihood of developing brain plaque, and increases in the decline, that actually doesn't make sense, so a decline in cognitive function and a decline in the ability to think and remember things. It's also linked to high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, a buildup of uric acid. In one article I read, the drinking of 2 cans of soda or fizzy pop or whatever you want to call it daily increased the chance of getting gout or increased the likelihood of getting gout by 69%. Causes chromium deficiency, and chromium is a mineral that you need because it regulates your blood sugar. It causes a depression of or suppression of the immune system. It increases the speed of aging. It causes cavities in teeth, which are presumed primarily by the rapid decrease in the pH to acidic levels when you consume sugar. Bloating, indigestion, diarrhea, damage to your stomach and intestines, which prevents you from absorbing nutrients, body-wide inflammation, body-wide pain, overgrowth of candida because it destroys good bacteria, and candida overgrowth is very, very bad, and I'll be doing a video about that soon. So here's the things that you really want to avoid and preferably quit if you really want to have a big boost in your health, and we'll cover some of the benefits of quitting sugar shortly. So start reading labels and look out for high fructose corn syrup or corn syrup. Watch out for the low-fat foods, because all they do with those is they increase the quantity of the sugars, which is bad. So look out for the diet drinks as well. In fact, there's probably another video I should do in the diet drinks. There's certain chemicals which are really bad. One of them, in fact, they use when they're doing vivisection experiments on animals to cause cancers, and that's in soft drinks. Avoid processed foods. You can cut back on carbohydrates. You'll live a lot better and a lot more healthfully on fats and proteins instead. And I think one of the things that would really helpful is to clean house. So go around the house and get rid of the products that have the sugars in, the low-fat products, the high fructose corn syrup products. Again, you don't have to do any of this. I'm just giving you suggestions of what you could do. Substitute sweets and candies for fruits, preferably the low sugar fruits only. Drink a lot more water. Look into healthy snacks. One of the really good snacks are broccoli sprouts. Get more light aerobic exercise. Learn how to handle stress more. Learn to meditate. There's a video on earthing which is in the description below if you'd like to have a look at that. That's awesome for stress relief. In fact, that's an earthing strap which is currently on my foot while I'm doing this video, and well, we have an earthing sheet on the bed. I have that earthing strap usually around my wrist when I'm working at the computers, and also have a mat on the bed. Make sure you're getting more sleep as well. So the overall benefits of reducing or cutting out your sugar consumption, number one is your overall health will improve. You'll also have a big improvement in your overall energy. The energy levels will become much more consistent, so you won't have these big spikes and these big dips. It just, you run along at the same kind of level all the time, and it's awesome. Now, I'm going to do a video on intermittent fasting. So today's Saturday. I ate last night, what time did we have food? About 7:30, so it was probably about 7:45 when we finished eating. I didn't eat again today until 12:45, so 1:45 in the afternoon. Didn't get hungry, didn't feel bad. My energy levels have been really consistent as well. Cutting out your sugar will suppress your hunger. Once you get past all the cravings and everything that goes, within 4 or 5 days, your skin will improve. Flatulence or wind, that will decrease. Any candida problems will decrease. You'll sleep better. You're going to live longer and live more healthfully as well. And your stamina and endurance will increase dramatically. Well, gosh, that was a pretty intense video. I hope you learned something useful from that. In the comments below, if you've quit taking sugar, I'd love to hear about your experiences of that and your journey on it. If you have any other questions or any other ideas for videos you'd like to see, please do put them in the comments below. If you've not already subscribed, please do click on the subscribe button now and the bell icon so you can be kept updated as I release new content. And I've got to say, I've really enjoyed talking to you again about this subject. It's something that I've wanted to do this video for quite a long time, and it's been really rewarding to make. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. See ya!